Welcome to the Blueprints Podcast. I'm Isabelle Broidigam, Director of Marketing at Custom Built Design Remodeling, here today with Michael Flory, founder, CEO, and my dad. So we're excited to be on and talk today about the beginning of Custom Built and how you marketed the company early on.
Yeah, those were some fun days. It's going to be a fun episode to get into with you today. And started, when you start a business, oftentimes you don't have all the plans figured out. If you did, there wouldn't be any businesses today. So marketing is one of those things that you got to do it. But if you have jobs, you don't think so much about it. But then it's when the jobs stop flowing that you start thinking, well, what do I do? And you're thinking marketing, sales, and there's a lot of intermixing of those two. But our early on marketing strategy wasn't the most sophisticated. And most I would say remodeling companies are. But one of the things that I saw early on was just the advantages of repeat referral business.
Yeah.
And when it was just me starting the company and it was me out there in my truck, one of the things I did, probably the best marketing decision I made, was hiring a company to design our logo, to take kind of the vision. He was a really good designer because he found out the why behind Custom Built. He found out the why of what I was, who I was, and where I was coming from, and what I was trying to do in the marketplace, and kind of then crafted a logo around that. So it wasn't just a canned. Back in the 2004, 5-ish, you could get online and get stuff done. Not like AI today. AI is pretty good.
It's changed the game.
Yeah, there's probably some of this stuff is not really relevant with today, but the reality of having a person that understood who we were and created the logo, and then we got that logo. So then you had to get that put on the trucks, and I think we created a business card, and we created some pamphlets of sorts that we could hand out like at home shows and things like that. So the marketing strategy up front was like, we're gonna do a good job for people. We're gonna take care of them. We're gonna have our name on our trucks, and we're gonna put lawn signs out. And so that was kind of the beginning stages of marketing. I think very early on, I started doing home shows right out of the gate. So we had to get a home show booth set up. So that all required, marketing. And quite honestly, mistake of many visionaries. So all visionaries listening today, listen closely. You can do anything you want, but you might not be the best at it. You can get good at stuff, and you might think you're the best at it. And at the time, you may be the best resource because you might not be able to go out and hire that particular thing. But at some point, there is somebody that's probably better than you at it, and delegating those marketing, creating stuff and all of that is really important for you to begin to elevate your business.
Yeah, and I even think you did that early on by hiring a marketing agency.
I was unusual, especially back in the mid 2000 era. Remodeling wasn't what it is today. There wasn't the professional remodeler the way the professional remodeler is today. And really, every setback is always for you if you look at it. So one of the things that, if you think about, things either happen for you or they happen, to you. And when they happen for you, you can then they can go through you and help the world. When they happen to you, you get stuck. And when the crash happened in 2008, it was terrible. Michigan was pretty much shut down. We went from building 45,000, I think 50,000 might have been the biggest year, 2007, 2008. And then the state was building like 6,000 houses a year. So like most of the trades were decimated. Most of all new home building was decimated. And that affected the remodeling business as well. But then it opened the door for the professional remodeler to become a thing. And we had already done some of those things. We had the nice logo. We had the cool looking trucks. And we were, once we started growing, we had our team wearing, logoed shirts and things like that, just having that professional image. And that's one of our remarkable principles today, right? 3 remarkable principles.
Professional experience.
Yeah. So people feel that when they show up, and they show at home, there's a nice lawn sign out front, and then there's a truck out front with a logo. So there's some security, there's some peace of mind. Hey, that we've hired a reputable company. Because a lot of people have had bad experiences where they've, paid somebody and the work didn't get done, or the contractor didn't follow through. And top 5 of the 10 Better Business Bureau, like the worst like businesses that you can hire are in the contracting business. So having a good marketing image is really important, but then having the work behind it to stand behind it also. So it's the yin and the yang. It's you got to do both.
And I think of one thing that you and I often talk about is marketing truly is the tip of the spear for your business. It's the first thing, right? But it's not always the first thing that you think of when you're starting a business. So really you position Custom Built well in the sense of you went and hired that marketing agency up front. But then as you're talking about the yin and the yang, like continuing that on, it's not only just having that image, but delivering your product well. And then that repeat referral business. I mean, even today for us is still our largest, I would say,
Yeah.
revenue producer.
Yep.
We work for clients and we work for them again. And so repeat referral is very important for us.
Yeah. Yep. That's always been a staple. And, but you can't just rely on that. When
Yes.
you start just relying on that, like people forget about you. It's so many times over the years, like somebody would have hired us and let's say we did a small project for them. Maybe we came in and did a deck on their house, a small deck. And, 2008 hit and we started doing more services, offering more services because there was less work. There wasn't enough deck work to keep us busy. We had to rebrand ourselves. We had to
Mm-hmm.
remarket ourselves to let the industry know that we did other things. Well, so I mean, I've had several of those clients that we did stuff for that never didn't know we did kitchens, didn't know we did additions, didn't know we did, and we talk about this all the time. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, did you hear so and so? We still miss stuff. So
Yep.
marketing is one of those things. I was also going to touch on, organic marketing. You could call it networking. It's it's all the time when you're a business owner and or when you're in sales, like there's just opportunity everywhere. And it's not talking about yourself. It's asking and finding out what other people do. I think that's probably been some of the greatest marketing connects that I've had also is like building a network is through just finding out what other people do and figuring out a way that you could help and serve somebody else. Those can be some of the greatest connections and a better ROI sometimes than the billboard you put up.
Absolutely. I think of when you say that people buy from those they know, like, and trust. And really being curious, being open, asking questions does create that bridge of trust to allow for future opportunities, whether it's
Yeah.
with that person or, hey, they have a friend who, is thinking of a kitchen remodel later down the road
Right.
and they met you at a coffee shop. I mean, we've had several leads like that come in recently, especially up in our northern Michigan market in
Mm-hmm.
Boyne City, where the personal connection just makes all the difference.
Right. Yeah. It definitely does. So you're standing in line and you strike up a conversation with somebody with no intention because that's the thing with marketing, right? Marketing is it's not a it, it's not like there's different types of marketing, right? But it's not always asking for something. It's
Yes.
actually catching somebody and helping them discover that you can help them get what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And so versus trying to go out and get something, it's much more bringing their reality to life. And we've all had that, right? Think about this. The last car that you bought.
Okay.
Once you
Got it.
decided think about it. What was that last car you bought? And once you thought about what you wanted to buy and you started looking for that car, where you saw that car everywhere. Prior to that, if it was a
Yes.
car that you hadn't thought about, you don't see it because the mind will only, the eyes will only see what the mind tells it to see. And so once you tell your mind to look for something, it'll look for something. And that's how marketing is. You have to do it all the time. You can't have done a campaign last quarter and think that, well, you sent those flyers out and those are going to produce, leads this quarter. They're not going to. I
No.
mean, maybe there's an occasional person that's a super organized person that saves it and thinks about it, but not most people aren't that way. So when they're ready, they're like, "Oh, I'm ready to do our kitchen." And now you have to be out there in the place that they are, and that could be anywhere. That could be at your doctor's office. That could be on a billboard. That could be on a TV ad. That could be on, wherever.
Social media.
Social media, right. All and then word of mouth,
Mm-hmm.
word of mouth. And that's going on all the time. So
So I want to dig into this as we're ending the podcast. There's a rule that you taught me really early on in my career, and it's game changing. Also, you've really taught this to our team, and it's the 3-foot rule. And you naturally do this. And people, I would say, depending on your personality, a lot of business owners tend to be outgoing and, they just connect naturally with people. But what is the 3-foot rule, and why is that so transformational to the business we built?
well, if somebody's within 3 feet of you, you can talk to them.
Mm.
So opening up your mouth and asking somebody a question or making a compliment. I sometimes even just will think positive thoughts about a person that might be around me, and when you do that and when you approach life that way, when you approach people, looking at everybody around us, is it somebody that you could potentially, help or
Yes.
encourage or bring to life, like versus I'm going to talk to them so I can get a deal. I'm desperate, right? We've all been desperate in business. Like if this job doesn't come through or this thing doesn't happen, I'm going to be sunk, right? And business owners often really struggle with that, but but out of the kindness of the heart, and if out of that heart is why we're talking to people, stuff just happens and conversations just go places that you would have never thought they would do. So in that 3 foot rule, you can learn so much about a human being that you're
Mm.
standing by. And when they sense that you care, all of a sudden they want to know about what you do. I mean, it's almost guaranteed that they'll ask you what you.
Yeah.
So, and I don't like so much starting with what do you do, but it's,
Yeah.
it's just striking up a conversation, if you're in the elevator, if you're, walking into a coffee shop. I ran into a guy the other day, and uh he was on his computer. He had a big laptop, like a big CAD type computer, and like, seen him in there a couple of days in a row, just working pretty steadily. And I just struck up a conversation with him and found out that like he's actually a remodeler.
Hmm.
And he does a lot of his own design. And so we had a really interesting conversation, and got to learn about his business and, some little connections. It hasn't gone anywhere or anything at this point, but if I hadn't struck up the conversation around that computer, hey, this is an interesting computer. What do you do? Or he's like, I'm in remodeling business. So the
Hmm.
3 foot rule is just a very powerful rule that we can implement, and it's just easy to remember. And just know that like um, people love to tell their stories.
Mm.
So when you get a chance to get somebody to tell you their story, like that just automatically is going to open up doors that you would have never thought possible.